Yeah, sucks about Tony Todd, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a definite loss.
Yep.
Certainly watching this again. Yeah. Just the voice, not to reduce
Yeah.
him down to
Yeah.
one
He is.
element,
Oh,
but that voice is, yeah, yeah.
yeah. His voice is incredible.
Have you seen the new one?
Yeah. Yeah.
The whatever?
Yeah. That one's good. That one's worth watching.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I went to the
Yeah.
cinema, so I need
Mm,
to see it again.
yeah.
Because what happened was I saw it and I really liked it, but then I listened
Mm.
to a podcast, a movie review
Uh,
podcast, and the guy that I really
ah.
like and respect his opinion,
Yeah.
um, he's a black dude for context, as this is a really,
Mm.
racially political
Yes.
movie, yeah,
Mm.
driven movie.
Yeah.
And but then he was breaking it down and it was like, oh shit. And it was a real bummer. It's a real bummer.
Mm.
Learned a
Yeah.
lesson. Yeah, never listen
Mm.
to a negative review just after you've
Yeah.
seen a good movie, certainly if
Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
might be correct. So I need to see it again. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about it too much because that one's more overtly political, and I really
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
feel like we'll talk about the politics. We'll just keep it
Mm.
to Candyman because I don't want to get too political at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because politics are kind of gross at the moment in the world. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just process
I
it. Just
mean,
want
to
to
be fair, they
process.
always are.
They always are, but there's
Yeah.
always these heightened moments.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's from another country, etc.
Mm.
Children, but yeah. Feel it down
Yeah.
here.
Unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah.
America being the country that it is in terms of the world at large,
All
it's
right.
going to
I'll
have an
ask you.
impact on the entire world, unfortunately.
I'll ask you one question about it. Did you
Mm.
see it coming?
Oh, I was hoping that it wouldn't happen.
But did you
Like
see
as
it
in,
coming?
oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
The
Um,
rational, not rational is the wrong word, the realist
yeah.
in you, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I think I was just kind of hoping that everything that has been happening over the past number of years wasn't indicative of what would happen. So,
Sure, 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 sure. I mean,
yeah.
same.
Mm,
Not surprised, though, is the only thing I'll say.
yeah.
At the same time,
Yeah.
not surprised. Not
Mm,
surprised. Yeah. Unfortunate. Um, we're getting a little bit political
yeah.
at the start here,
Yeah.
Children of Popcorn, because this film is political,
Yeah.
then and now, and pertinent to what's just happened with Trump winning.
Mm,
Um, and it's Candyman. Candyman. Bernard
yes.
Rose's Candyman is the film we're looking at, but of course, this is Clive Barker's story, The Forbidden,
Yeah.
from Books of Blood, Part 3. Have you read this, Dorian?
No, I haven't.
It's
The
really,
only,
it's really, really,
yeah.
really good. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the only Clive Barker that I've read is The Hellbound Heart. I don't think I've read any of his others. I know
Same.
that I have intended on reading them. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I have read The Hellbound Heart, which is a Hellraiser one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a novella. It's a
Mm,
novella. Yeah. Have you read any of
yeah.
the comics? I never have. I'd
No.
love to.
The Hellraiser comics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, I think I started reading them
Okay,
and then
okay.
just yeah.
I'm a big fan. He's a bit like
Mm,
with Gaiman. Mm.
mm,
Uh, Clive Barker was and still is a
mm,
very significant artist. Certainly growing
yeah.
up though, like
Mm,
in tandem with Gaiman. This is the stuff that
mm,
I was reading. I
yeah.
basically read all of his books up until a certain point.
Mm,
This whole other kind of dark fantasy sagas he's gone down, which I
yeah.
haven't looked
Yeah.
at.
Like Nightbreed. Nightbreed is that
Oh, and I've read that. That's
encapsulated
Cabal. That's
perfectly.
that's
Yeah.
Cabal. The book of
Yeah.
that is yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But he the Arabellum, the Ara. No, I won't try it. It's a demon's
Mhm.
name.
Mm,
There's this whole saga he's written about that. Because he's famous for Hellraiser. I would say
yeah,
mostly is his most
yeah,
famous. Yeah,
yeah.
that's his biggest contribution to horror. If you don't know him, their children. Great man.
Mm.
Touch wood. I'm sure, but yeah, not
No,
Clive. Not Clive. No,
not
no.
Clive.
And yeah, no, wonderful imagination. It's psychedelic gore, but there's a real heavy fantasy leaning, but it's not
Mm,
dwarves and dragons and elves.
mm,
These are
yeah,
grotesque, gruesome, but very fetish driven
mm,
because he is John Waters level gay, if not beyond,
yeah, yeah,
is Clive Barker. And if you go back and think about the original Hellraiser,
mm,
yeah, just put that in the club.
yeah.
And yeah, yeah. And this informs a lot of his work. Look up what he wanted to do with the mummy. Yeah, when he wanted a
Oh,
trans-universal mummy. Idea
that'd be
completely
cool.
rejected. The idea was completely
Oh,
rejected.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I'm
we
not
got
surprised.
the Brendan Fraser mummy,
Yeah.
but it was his at
Um,
first, which is
yeah.
very disappointing,
Oh,
Hollywood.
yeah.
Very,
That
because
would have
that
been
would have
cool.
been, yeah, would have been
I
well
wonder
into
what that timeline would have been like.
oof, yeah, yeah. Have you seen any of his other films?
Um, yeah, so Candyman, Hellraiser, Nightbreed,
Hmm.
Midnight Meat
Hmm.
Train.
Hmm. Thank you, thank you. Lords of Illusion.
Yes, I have seen that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Okay, okay. Has he he hasn't directed all of those,
No.
but if he's not directing, he is producing, consulting,
Mm,
adding his paintings to the background because he's also a wonderful visual artist
yeah.
as well. And started off in theatre. If you ever come across YouTube
Mm,
stuff of his theatre work and stuff, it's art Anatonian Artaud level of
mm.
weirdness. What the fuck's going on? Yeah. So yeah, this is from his story, but this is Bernard Rose's movie. Have you ever heard of this guy before, Dorian?
No.
He's very much not usually a horror person. He did Anna Karenina and Immortal Beloved, Beethoven, the composer, not the dog, as they were in
Mm.
the dog movies back in the day. So think about this movie, how it's kind of a tragic, dark, almost My
Mm,
Dying Bride romance, very Black Dracula, if you will. I'll get into that. I'm not just throwing that out there. Um, but that comes from doing kind of these very soaring, well composed period pieces.
mm.
Yeah, and I reckon you can
Yeah.
see it in
Yeah, yeah,
Candyman. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. So I was happy with this. I'll start off with saying that I first saw this at the cinema back in Christchurch, New
Ooh.
Zealand, way back, because I had the interest in Clive Barker and I had seen Hellraiser. I
Mm,
liked it, but I didn't love it, but I didn't really understand it back then.
yeah.
I hadn't taken that step into horror. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It was largely like, oh, wow,
yeah.
what the fuck is Pinhead? Yeah. But I got there very quickly afterwards. And I've watched this film many, many times. And of
Yeah.
course, children, excuse me. And of course, children, we are doing this in tribute to Tony Todd. Rest in peace and thank you, good sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Candyman 5 times in the mirror every day.
Yeah. That's your
A
daily
tribute.
affirmation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a big shame. Did you want to speak
Mm.
on Tony Todd before we even touch on Candyman, like your history?
Oh. Um,
And you just, any words you want to say?
yeah. To me, the first I was trying to figure out like what the first movie was that I ever saw with Tony Todd in it.
Mhm.
And
Okay, cool.
it would have been Final Destination 3. Admittedly, that was just his voice
Okay. So
is
that's
in
the
it.
first Final Destination you watched,
But
obviously. Yeah.
The Final Destination franchise would have been the first thing I saw him in.
Okay.
Um, and then after that, it probably would have been Candyman. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not entirely
Hmm.
sure because it could have been The Crow. Um, or maybe Hatchet. I don't know exactly. Um, but yeah, like
Hmm.
he's one of those actors that when you have like cameos from big name horror actors, he's one of those actors that have little
Oh,
like, kind of
absolutely.
thing. He's one of those actors, and his presence and, just in terms of just as an actor and all that. And then his voice
Hmm.
is just incredible. And it just, oh,
That was,
there's
I
a
mean, like, yeah, yeah. No, sorry, carry on, carry on.
there's a movie coming out. I'm not entirely sure when, either late this year or early next year, that apparently is the last movie that he filmed before he died. It's
Okay.
called Werewolf Game. And by the synopsis, it sounds like it's based on the game One Night Ultimate Werewolf. If you've ever played that game, um, it's like Mafia. It's like a party game kind of
No,
thing.
no, 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 I haven't. I haven't, sorry.
For all
What
the
the hell? Sorry,
youngins,
sorry, sorry. Sorry,
yeah,
pause for one
yeah,
sec there, Dorian.
yeah,
My
yeah,
computer's, yeah, you're
yeah.
good.
For the youngins, you
There we go.
Among Us is essentially the same general concept as One Night Ultimate Werewolf or Mafia. It's the same concept.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, so
I
from the
get you.
synopsis of this movie, it seems that it's heavily based on that game. So, and Tony Todd's in it.
Hmm. Has done
So,
a lot of that. Thank you. He
mm,
has done a lot of voice work over the years as
yeah,
well,
mm,
of course. So Werewolf Game, yeah.
yeah,
Because I've got Final Destination Bloodlines
yeah.
as
I
well
don't know
coming
if
as
that's
opposed
been, yeah,
confirmed. This is just Wikipedia, of course. Yeah.
yeah. So, there is a new Final Destination movie that is going to be coming out. And Tony Todd has been in like every single one in some way or another. But I don't
Movies
know
don't
how.
come out for 2 years
Yeah,
after they're
yeah,
made,
yeah,
as I remember.
exactly.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know exactly how far along in production that film is. So
Mhm.
it might
Mhm.
still be in pre-production at the moment, and I don't know the details for that. So,
He was in Stream, which you've seen and
yes, yes.
recommended to people. Uh, but he's done so much. He's done so much. Of course,
Yeah.
Candyman is what he's most famous for.
He's in Wishmaster. Wishmaster's
Wishmaster.
another, that's another, like, it's really fun. It's so 90s and really,
Hmm.
really enjoyable
Hmm.
of a movie in terms of the
Hmm.
premise overall. As in, like you ask a genie for a wish and he gives you that wish, but in a twisted way. That's the general premise of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
James rambles
yeah,
about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But you want to see a movie that has a bunch of like horror icons in it, horror actor legends in it? Watch Wishmaster. There's so many in that movie.
And there's so many crazy practical effects
Yes.
monsters,
Oh,
yeah, that are thrown at the
yes.
screen the whole time. Yeah, I saw a little bit of the kill count, then turned it off because I
Mm,
no, no, I want to see this
yeah.
fresh.
Yeah.
I want to, yeah, yeah. He was also in Hellfest. I enjoyed
Yeah.
Hellfest a
Yeah.
lot. Victor Crowley,
Yeah. Yeah. He's in,
not
the Hatchet films. Just
uh
overall, that franchise, which
yeah,
I
yeah,
love.
yeah.
I love that
Oh, they're
franchise.
good. No, they're solid. They're solid.
It's
That's
so
a
fun.
significant
Yeah.
franchise. No, he's a horror. We've lost a
Mm,
horror icon, but he will not be
yeah.
forgotten, and that's why we're doing our little part
Yeah.
tonight with Candyman. So, what's your history with this movie? How do you feel about it in general?
Oh,
Before
yeah.
we tell the children to go to bed for
Yes.
spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly when it was that I watched it, but it was one of those ones that's right, starting to watch a bunch of horror and get into it properly. I know that this is one that I need to watch because it's
Yeah,
one that,
yeah, it
you
is.
know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
it
such
is.
a classic film. And yeah, like it's so good. Just the performances from everyone is fantastic. And Philip Glass is the composer for the
Mm.
score, and it's just
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
beautiful
Mhm.
and just suits the
Mhm.
tone so
The
perfectly. And
motif, the
it's
way it's
just,
woven in as a motif into
yeah,
the narrative is
yeah.
great. Yeah, yeah.
And the overall story, like the story of Candyman, is really tragic. Even though,
Yeah.
he's a villain, it's still
Yeah,
really tragic. And so
it is.
it doesn't feel, it's not like a typical slasher film or anything like that.
Oh, no,
It
no,
doesn't
no.
it doesn't hit those same kind of
No,
story
it's more
beats
Bram
or kind of,
Stoker.
yeah.
It's
Mm.
more, yeah, Black Dracula.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
quoting Dead End podcast.
Mm.
Shout out, because yeah, this is where they were all these black dudes talking about that. The idea
Yeah.
of Candyman's very much a Black Dracula because it
Mm.
has that theatrical romance, that literary
Yeah.
romance, yeah, rather than just a kind of psychotic misogynist fueled
Yeah.
psycho
Mm.
revenge. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Carry on, though, please.
Yeah. I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah.
Also, Virginia Madsen as like the main actress in
Hmm.
it. Oh, she's
Hmm.
so good.
She is so good, isn't she, in
Yes.
this? Yeah. As Helen, and the way they light her face and everything as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. When
Yeah,
she's in that
definitely.
trance. Yeah. Because for
Yeah.
that, like they actually did hypnotize Virginia Madsen when she has that dazed look on her face. That's because it has been put into a trance.
No shit.
Like that wasn't
That's
just some
I
really
didn't
good
know that.
acting
No,
on her
I didn't
part.
know
That's
that.
yeah.
That's
And
cool.
those bees were
Okay.
real bees. And Tony Todd did I mean, he had a shit ton of bees in his mouth for real. He
Yeah,
got stung a
yeah.
bunch.
That's right. That's right. 1992, children, this film came out. Yes. Um, Not great, but very not great. Safety standards, but very
Mm.
effective
They
though. Very
they tried
effective.
that
Very
they
effective.
tried their best. He did have
Mhm.
like a guard in his mouth to help
Okay. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
prevent the
Yeah.
bees
Yeah.
from like going down his
Hmm.
throat or anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
But like there's only so
There's a
much you can
lot
do
of a lot of
when you're
bees
putting a
though.
bunch of bees in someone's
So
mouth.
many bees. So many bees. Yeah. But that's Clive Barker. When you're signing up to work
Mm,
with Clive Barker, he
yeah,
works in excess. He's always worked in excess.
yeah.
And this is representative of that. And because like I remember when he was making Hellraiser written Fangoria way back,
Mm,
him just screaming on set, not in a bad way, just blood.
yeah,
There
yeah,
needs more blood. This is
yeah,
just after Hellraiser's pinheads come to the room, just slaughtered
yeah.
everyone. This coated,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. No, he's great. He's great. If you have it, if you're unaware of him, they're children
Mm,
in a movie and definitely a book sense.
mm,
And Jennifer Kent, that's
mm.
Babadook director, yeah.
Babadook, yeah, yeah.
She's set to do an adaptation. It's not out which one it is
Ooh,
yet. There's talks of The Thief of Always, which is a very
yeah.
fun one. That's a very
Ooh,
twisted carnival-esque reality coming into ours to
mm,
fuck shit up. Yeah. So and I reckon she could do that very well.
mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Because her effects work is really good. And have you ever seen The Nightingale?
No, I haven't.
It'll ruin your day, your week.
Yeah, yeah. I know the overall premise of it. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
quite bleak from my
That should
understanding.
be on an iceberg. Definitely a
Yeah,
tier two with Midsummer.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah, no, I love this movie. Absolutely. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. Virginia Madsen is really good, as is a lot of the other cast. Bernie, big fan of Bernie. That is Bernadette. So I'll start at the top.
Mm.
Virginia Madsen is Helen Lyle. Tony Todd is Daniel Robitelli. Yeah,
Rubatai, Rubatai.
Robitaille. Thank you. Uh, Candyman, of course. And Berkeley is Trevor.
Oh,
Trevor Lyle.
fuck Trevor, fuck
Fuck
Trevor.
Trevor, just from the out the gate. Fuck
Yeah,
Trevor.
fuck Trevor.
Anna Marie McCoy. Anna Marie McCoy. I'm going to call her Anna
Mm,
Marie throughout because it's got a lot of notes to go through.
yeah,
That was beautifully played though by Vanessa Estelle Williams. Yeah,
yeah,
really, really good. Cass Lemons was Bernie. Bernadette Walsh. Jake was Dewan Guy. Yeah,
yeah.
look, yeah, the wee kid. Gilbert, Dr. Stacy. Lovely. No, it's an EY. I thought it would be with an I.
She does seem like an
I
eye.
wrote it that way anyway. Carolyn Lowry. Yeah, we'll throw it out there to Dr. Burke, just cause. Stanley DeSantis, and anyone else we'll bring up otherwise. Those are the main
Yeah,
players, definitely. And it's written and directed by Bernard Ropes.
yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you found out aside from the bees and whatnot? Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I don't think there's any great infamy behind this film
no.
whatsoever. It's
Mm,
Clive. Clive is cool. Clive is cool. and hopefully he keeps going. He's got stuff he wants to bring out that he's been working on, but he's gone through things like fires and
Oh, geez.
such. Yeah, that he's had to reciprocate through coming in and out of comas to get out of for a matter of
Oh,
a couple of decades. Yeah,
yeah.
that's why there hasn't been a big lot of but he's back and he's up and he's cognitive. Yeah, yeah. So hopefully we see more from you there, Clive. And thank you for everything. You're cool. All right. Okay, let me just get to my notes here. So I did rather than just go to Target Wikipedia. Okay, so we've done all those. Books of Blood are good ones to start because they're short stories there. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
recommend to there, Dorian. Okay, we're open to A Wall of Bees and Todd's Voice. And key line, I'll split you from the groin to the
Oh,
gut.
yes. What is for blood if not for spilling?
Mhm, 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 mhm. Haven't seen already. Go to bed, children. Come back. Yeah. Okay. And then the bees swarm over Chicago City to Glass's motif. You're familiar, it seems, with Philip Glass before this?
No, I'm just
Okay.
extremely appreciative of the score in this film.
Okay. Cool. He's worked with Peter Greenaway, the cook, thief, wife, lover guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Michael Nyman do the pianos, a contemporary of his, and they do he's done a lot of those fucked up art house movies. Yeah.
Mm.
He's one of those guys, but he's way more famous. He's way more
Yeah.
famous for people who liked craft work. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are big
Yeah.
fans of Philip Glass.
Yeah.
You know,
Ah.
he's in that school of
Yeah.
things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, it dissolves into a soft glow close up of Helen. Oh, sorry, and then it's his voice, I came for you. Yeah. Over the swarming bees. So that's at the start, and then there's the aerial view, sorry, that pans across. We get
Yeah.
quite a few of those. Yeah. Then we get Billy and the boyfriend babysitter story, which is so Nightmare on Elm Street looking. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
First sight of Candyman in the mirror.
Yeah. And Billy is played by Ted Raimi.
Okay.
That's
How could I?
that's Ted
How could I
Raimi,
not mention
yeah.
that? Yeah, indeed it is. Indeed it is. What did you think of? Yeah, what did you think of this little segment?
It's good. Like this, I assume this film came out before Urban Legend did, but like it's Urban Legend is kind of
92.
taking,
So
yeah, yeah. Like I'm not Urban Legend is a 90s
give me a
film,
second. Give me a
but
second.
I'm pretty sure it came out after
One
Candyman.
second.
But um these two take have a very similar, at the very least, like starting premise in that it's about, researching urban legends and discussing urban legends and that kind of stuff. But for the film Urban Legend, they're not ones that are made up for the sake of the movie. They're ones that the viewer is aware of, like Pop
Mhm,
Rocks and
mhm,
Coke, and
mhm.
like
Yeah, yeah.
there's someone in the back seat and this, that, and the other kind of thing. So, but it there is like a bit of a similarity there. But they go in vastly different directions.
Yeah, they do. They go way, just to say for now, Candyman gets a bit deeper on it.
Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
So
because
I know exactly what you're
Urban
saying.
Legend
Yeah,
is a like it's a slasher
yeah,
in
yeah,
which the killer is killing people by way of urban legends.
yeah, yeah. These were early IRL, I think that's the correct terminology, chat
Mm,
rooms in
mm,
1998 is when
yeah.
Urban Legend came out.
There you
So
go.
there's 6 years before with
Yeah.
Candyman. Yeah, very cool, cool. Okay, go back, where is it? So many tabs. Yeah, so Helen Lyle, she's a semiotics graduate student at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Semiotics is the language, the meaning of signs and how they're
Signs
transferred
and
in
symbols. Yep.
societals and symbols and such. Yeah, yeah, cool.
Mhm.
Um, Now she's familiarized herself with Candyman, and now she becomes obsessed with
Mm.
Candyman. And sorry, just bring it back my other notes in a sec.
I mean, that's what her thesis is going to be about. So,
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
you're the kind of person who is pursuing higher education to such an extent that you need to write a
Mm,
thesis on
hmm
something, then
hmm
yeah, you are going to be pretty determined to see it through.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Because
no,
my God,
absolutely.
the amount of effort and schooling that goes into that shit, like, couldn't be
Oh yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. And then like Helen with the extra, yeah. But Helen with the things that she
Mm,
decides to, in the end is forced to slash decides to, what
mm,
she puts herself through. Yeah,
yeah.
by the end of this, it's epic. It
Mm,
is epic. Um, Now I'll just read the plot on here. While researching urban legends, she familiarizes herself with the Candyman, a spirit who kills anyone that speaks his name 5 times before a mirror. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the gimmick. That's how you
5 times,
summon
not three, five.
five exactly, which I like. Five I like better than number three.
Yeah.
She learns of a recent murder at the Cabrini Green Homes public housing project and several others that have been attributed by locals to Candyman. Um, what did you think? Okay, so we'll just stop there. What did you think back with Billy and the boyfriend when the ceiling was pierced? Billy the
Yeah, I
boyfriend
mean,
and the babysitter, yeah, and the
yeah.
blood came through.
Mm,
Did you think there
yeah.
was a nice little bit of
Yeah.
Clive Barker gory
Yeah.
surrealism, basically? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like it
but
works.
it works.
Given,
It's weird.
Clive Barker,
It's weird.
and yeah, it's fine. It works. I mean, also
I
like,
liked it. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, like admittedly at the time, you don't necessarily know that this is just a story that someone is telling. That no, I swear I know what
Hmm
happened. I
hmm
know the person
Yeah,
who knows the
yeah,
person that it happened to. But
that makes perfect
it is
sense.
it is, something made up. And it's
Definitely,
just a
and
story, it's an urban legend. And so it makes sense that it does look a little bit fantastical.
absolutely, absolutely. And all of Clive Barker's literature, like a big theme behind it, is the piercing of the
Mm,
veil of reality of horrible
mm,
things. Shares a lot with H.P. Lovecraft now that I say that
yeah,
out loud. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of piercing of the veil of reality,
Mm,
a push and pull, definitely,
mm,
definite tension between reality and Candyman's world in
mm.
this,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's just a nice visually ideogrammatic way of showing that. Yeah,
Mm,
with it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So I got that. I got that when I saw that. But I definitely get that if you didn't see that, you'd be like,
yeah.
"Excuse me, what just happened
Yeah.
there?" Um, we get the aerial shot of University of Illinois. This is shot in Chicago.
Mm,
Two glasses motif. This motif, as I mentioned before, is
mm,
woven through the narrative without too great effect. Trevor lectures. Yes, so Helen's going to see hubby, Trevor. Trevor lectures on urban legend as modern oral folklore. Yeah, he's
yeah.
trying to discredit it. He's the skeptic, and she is not just the believer, she's the scholar on this. This
Mm,
is her
yeah.
life, her passion. Yeah, as you were
Mm,
pointing out there before, Dorian.
yeah.
Um, but with this, we have legend to reality to folklore in this film,
Mm,
which I think
yeah.
is a very nice, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
little
And I
structure.
mean, he's
Yeah.
right. Like urban legends is a form of folklore.
Mm-hmm. Very just
So,
contemporary,
yeah.
yeah, or
Yeah.
modern,
Yeah.
however you want to put it, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, do not disagree, do not disagree. But that's not the real tension in this relationship, though, is
no.
it?
No.
Because
I
she
mean,
goes down.
admittedly, yeah,
Please,
she
after
is,
you.
yeah. After all the students have cleared away, she says to him, like, I thought you agreed that you weren't going to do the syllabus on, like, do the study, yeah, teaching the class on urban legends until next semester because, like, I'm writing my thesis on this. this is going to throw off all my research, in terms
Yeah,
of
good point. Good
the
point. Yeah.
the students that she might want to survey and all that kind of thing. And he's out there like, oh, well, I'm constrained to, you can't expect me to, put all that aside in favor of what you want and all that kind of stuff because, oh, I got to teach the syllabus. And it's like, as far as I can tell, the two of you have already had this conversation. You agreed that you would put it off until the next semester. It's not a case of don't teach it at
Yeah.
all. Just wait until
Yeah.
next semester and do it. But he's like, no, it's my job to teach these students and I have to do it now because I said so. No. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
also, he's getting a little bit too close and personal to one of the young college students. And she
Yes.
calls him on
Stacy.
it.
She
Stacy.
absolutely calls him on it. And the way it went down as well when she did the see ya,
Mm.
hope you
Yeah,
sort this
yeah.
out soon. Don't give a fuck about her,
Mm.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was done very well. That was done very well. Uh, yeah. So, thank you for pointing. Thank you for pointing out what he was
Mm.
talking about. There before. Um, like trying to discredit her academically because he continuously discredits her throughout. And I
Mm.
think why I say this now is because I think that, but yeah, spoilers, the
Mm.
downfall of their
Mm.
relationship is central to this. That like love
Mm.
is this is a love story as well. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And love
Yeah.
is central to Helen's story, Helen's arc, to
Mm.
the whole thing with the relationship with
Yeah.
Candyman, from
Yeah.
Trevor to Candyman. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. If
yeah.
everything that happened between her and Trevor hadn't happened, then
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
ending would be of the movie would be very different.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And that's when you're watching this with modern eyes.
Mm.
It's definitely a bit slower than your
Mm.
newer
Oh
horror.
yeah.
Definitely. You've got to
It's
stick
a
with
slow
this, yeah.
it's a slow burn. Tony Todd doesn't show up until 45 minutes in.
Wow, really?
So,
Didn't
mm,
feel like it. Didn't feel
yeah.
like it.
At the
No, that's
45
cool.
minute point is when you
Yeah.
actually see him.
But I like it's like a little classical piece the way it's
Mm.
composed, you know what I mean? It comes
Yeah.
in these little movements. It's not like an act structure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's little movements that are guided by characters' downfalls and or
Mm.
obsessions, yeah.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
that drives this plot, yeah. So stick with it for that. It's a very warm looking and
Mm.
feeling film,
Yeah.
earthy tones and pastels, but they're not. All right, it's done well. It's not gross to look
Mm.
at. Yeah, the color
Yeah.
design does work. Um, yeah, certainly if you've seen the new film, I think you don't need to go back and
Mm.
see this film because this film is political in its
Mm.
own way. But we'll get there
Yeah.
when we get more into the ghetto, into Cabrini
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah.
I
Cabrini
think.
Green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. Um, Admiring students and cheating husbands, Trevor and Stacy. The politics of academia causes tensions between the main,
Mm.
the white adult characters, the white
Yeah.
professionals, yeah,
Mm.
in
Yeah.
this film. To slightly egotistical, pretentious to just horrible, annoying degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and all right, so she's and she wants to basically so she's still going to release the thesis with Bernie, publish
Mm.
the thesis, write the thesis and
Yeah.
publish it with Bernie on Candyman. I forget the full title of it. I'm sure it's not just
Yeah.
Candyman, of course.
No. It's
Yeah,
some big wordy
yeah, yeah,
mouthful.
yeah,
They
yeah.
always are.
They actually, whilst we're on that, they actually nail all of the jargon and the attitudes
Mm.
shown towards each
Yeah.
other like perfectly, having been there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they actually do that really perfectly. Okay. All right, we have the apartments, the
Mm.
copy and pasting of
Yeah. Yeah.
project apartments, yeah,
Yeah.
for the Lincoln to the Cabrini Green.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She discovers
Yeah.
she's got extra apartments
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Because
mirror Cabrini
when
Green, and she bursts
yeah.
through the bathroom mirror to get to them. Yeah,
Yeah. Because when she's doing some research on the
the
Candyman thing and
microfiche.
this
Yeah,
and the stuff about
which is great.
this murder in Cabrini Green that's been attributed to Candyman, during that research, she has found out that the condo that she lives in, that whole building was initially also intended for public housing, the same in the
Yeah,
same way that something like Cabrini Green was.
Intended,
Um,
but didn't quite
mm,
get there. Yeah,
no, because of the
yeah.
overall landscape and other buildings in the area and all that kind of thing.
Couldn't block out the
Um,
ghetto. Yeah.
yeah, just socially, oh, we can put the white people here. It's okay.
Mhm,
We can have white
mhm,
people here.
mhm,
And
mhm.
we'll do it up really nice and plaster over the
Um,
wall so it's not some dingy theme, blah 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 kind of thing. And
mhm,
so
mhm,
she explains to Bernie, like, yeah, I know, this is the layout of this building. And so from that, she knows that, and she demonstrates, she takes the mirror off from her bathroom and says, yeah, this here behind it, it's just a flimsy piece of
mhm,
like plaster. That's all that separates this wall and the apartment right next to me. Look, I'll prove it to you. And she takes it out, and that other apartment is completely empty. But, and so then later on, when they go to Cabrini Green and inspecting empty apartments there, she says, look,
mhm,
it's the exact same layout. I can get through into this other apartment through that bathroom window, so bathroom mirror, which she does.
mhm, mhm, mhm. But she goes to Cabrini Green for a reason because
Mm,
she has, yeah, a black cleaner. I do say black.
yes.
Bernie's black as well.
Mm,
These things are important.
mm,
Helen's
yeah.
very much white,
Yeah.
not in a
But
not in a
interestingly,
classical looking way. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I've
Blonde blue, yeah, blonde blue
yeah,
eyes.
intentionally
In
so. Yeah,
mm,
yeah.
Interestingly that all of the other black characters, so the cleaning staff and then also the people who are living in Cabrini Green, they don't have
Yes.
any kind of interaction with Bernie in a way that is like they don't call directly refer to her as white, but they kind of are lumping her into the same
Mm.
group
Yeah, yeah,
as
they do. They do.
Helen,
Yeah.
and they never sort of acknowledge the fact that she is also black.
You got a class thing
And I
going on
think,
here
yeah,
as
it's a
well. Yeah.
class thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's done intentionally so. And I think
Mm,
there is Bernie and Helen being put together.
mm,
I think there is an intentional balance put to the racial representation, but because there has to be some of it, it's set in a ghetto,
mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
About a black, urban legend,
Mm,
piece of folklore.
yeah.
It's going to come up, but it's more about helping to perpetuate black culture through myth,
Mm,
through story. Yes,
yeah.
at the end,
Mm,
I think
yeah.
that's very much Clive Barker's and Bernard Rose's
Mm,
intention behind
yeah.
this,
Mm,
rather than to really try and make an outspoken opinion, a statement about urban life for
mm,
minorities, etc.,
yeah.
etc. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
The new
The
one
new
goes
one
much
is
more that
more.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably will cover it in the future, but we
Yeah.
just want to keep them separate because
Mm,
this is Tony Todd's movie.
yeah.
Yeah. His voice does a cameo.
He is in the new one right at the very, very end,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Helen and Bernadette worked together on a thesis on how Cabrini Green residents use the Candyman legend to cope with racial inequality. That's what, yeah, it is. Yes, a definite way to look at it. She and Bernadette visit the scene of the most recent murder. This is what they heard from the black cleaners in the university, being overheard, seen, and what she was looking at the microfiche, etc. Yeah. Now it was Ruthie Jean. Yeah, that's the name.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
thank
murdered
you.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, the murdered woman. Yeah. Okay, there Helen discovers a room where sweets have been left for a Candyman. Okay, before we jump there. She's taking photos as soon as she gets into Cabrini Green, and there's the interaction with gang. Just mention that because that does come up. They're both seen as just white, as other, as richer, as potential threats, danger, cops.
Yeah.
Cops. Yeah.
Because of how they dress and they're coming into
so much.
Cabrini Green and all that
corporate,
kind of stuff.
Very
it's like,
corporate.
well,
yeah.
Everyone just assumes that they're cops, and
Yeah.
they know that, like, that's what Bernie says as they pull up. She's like, well, why did we come up here dressed like cops? Like,
Because to be left alone, Helen says, as she takes photos, Helen does have smarts, intentionally so. And she's taking photos as she goes in, and she sees "Sweets for the Sweet" written on the wall in spray paint. That's the first time that comes up, and she goes to take a photo of the Sweets for the Sweets, but the door's opened with an angry resident with a Rottweiler, and that's Anna Marie McCroy. Yeah. And that's not the last we'll see of her.
No.
Yeah. Okay, and that's when they discover the mirror apartment, mirror, if you will. Because mirrors come up a lot in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you summon Candyman.
Yes, it's the portal. Yeah. It's literally the summoning portal. And so they go through, and now they're in this disused, very disused. Because the level of dilapidation, disuse, disrepair levels on. Oh, that's quite a lot. That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
In this movie, which I absolutely appreciated. We do get there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It does get to shit. This movie does.
It's a running theme for you. What the hell?
Okay, jumping ahead, because fuck it. Later on in a toilet, she discovers "Sweets for the Sweet" written in shit on one of the most disgusting public toilets I've seen in a movie. Yeah. Good stuff. But not just reveling in shit here. The set design of these places, of this urbex that she goes on.
Like it looks like
really
genuine, like abandoned stuff that's just been vandalized.
Chicago, like
and
that new one doesn't have that.
No.
I'm not going to go there, but no, it's different.
I mean, that one's a little bit more about gentrification than dilapidation and disrepair.
It has its own angle. It definitely has its own angle. Yeah. Okay. And there she finds the candy. Yeah, it's very Halloweenish candy, or the Christmas candy. And it's got razor blades in it. Yeah,
of course.
That's part. That's just part of Candyman's, supervillain, attire, basically.
I mean, that's an urban legend in and of itself.
Yes, it is. It's playing on that, definitely. Yeah, the new movie pretty much opens with that, I think. Yeah. Afterwards, they interview the victim's neighbor, Anne-Marie McCoy. Yes, because McCoy startles them as they come out of the bathroom. So she goes through the gaping maw of Candyman's face, spray painted on the wall. Yes.
That's so
lot.
Cool. It's
great.
So cool.
It's great. This comes up a lot in this movie. Yeah. Certainly later on. Okay, so she does come out because she runs out of film. That used to happen,
Yeah.
children. You'd run out of
Yes.
film.
Yeah.
It can't take any more photos.
Yep.
Um,
And also,
and
you have no idea as to whether you took anything that was even good.
yeah,
You wouldn't know until you developed that film.
personal
So you could have run
photos.
through an entire roll of film and they all be unusable.
And you've got, who knows? Well, you kind of had a stereotype of
Mm.
the photo booth guy who was
Oh
developing
yeah.
this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, had
Yeah.
a good look at your personal life. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 1 hour photo. That's
Good
literally the
movie.
premise of that movie. Robin
Yeah.
Williams.
One of his best roles ever.
Mm. And it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
comedy.
No, he's scary. He
No,
actually
he's the
scary.
villain.
And yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay. But so yeah, she comes out and then closes the mirror and then sees Anna Marie and does the dog ever get a name?
I don't think so.
No. With her Rottweiler, as they shut the bathroom mirror, there's the loud string da-da, and I think she shouts out at the same time, so we get the jump scare startle.
Yeah.
What was interesting though with the brown jacket and such, she was like the first time we see with the babysitter's story when she says
Mm.
Candyman for the fifth time switches off the light. We see
Yeah.
Candyman in the mirror. It's a very similar kind of
Mm.
resembling shot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I liked, which was a nice little touch. Okay, so they interview her. Now I liked her little speech isn't the right word.
Mm.
But she confronted them, saying, "So you think we're all gangs? You think we all sell
Yeah.
drugs? Kill people? Da da da. I'm just
Mm.
here for my child."
Yeah.
But the child, what was the child's name?
Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. Through Anthony, Helen, and not so much Bernie. It's
Mm.
Helen and Anna Marie connect. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because Helen is wildly empathetic.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
the baby's like, spitting up because that's what babies do. And
yeah,
Helen goes and
yeah,
like
yeah,
grabs a rag and, gets
yeah.
it wet and
And
then is
Anna
there,
Marie
cleaning
drops her
up and
guard, drops her guard.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Which is cool, which is cool. Um, yeah, she's raising her son Anthony, Helen, and her
Mm.
husband Trevor, alongside Bernadette. Later have dinner with Archie Walsh. Archie Walsh. One sec.
He was that British dude with the long hair who was there just
Oh,
being, oh,
that
well,
wanker. Yes, that wanker. Yeah.
did you read the paper that I wrote 10 years ago? Ooh,
Yeah, she did
I'm
say
amazing.
I was going to we're going
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna
crush
bury
you.
you. Yeah.
I understand because that's
What the
fueled
thesis that
after
we're writing. Yeah.
that would be fueled by about that stage by about 4 to 5 years of being,
Mm,
manipulated and demeaned by this guy,
yeah.
harassed, etc.,
Mm,
etc.
yeah. Yeah.
They exist. It's perfectly
Mm,
done.
yeah.
Again, it's perfectly
Yeah.
done. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
and so
so
that guy had done research on the
yeah,
Candyman
10 years earlier,
legend
yeah.
previously. So he had written a paper previously, and he was like, "Well, did you even read my paper that I wrote? If you're, doing this thesis on that, And she's like, "No, I haven't." So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
gives us the little info dump about like the backstory of this Candyman figure for,
Can you
back in the
can you
day,
say his real name again, please?
Daniel Robitaille.
Daniel Robitaille. Cool, thank you.
Yes. So, um,
Af African
yeah, so it was,
American,
yeah.
born late in 1800s. Yeah, he became a renowned painter. He was talented. His dad was rich. He
Mm,
created like decent shoes for the plant
mm,
for working in the plantation
yeah,
or something very
yeah,
fucked up. I get
mm.
it. And then he's commissioned to paint. Was her name Helen in the 1800s?
I don't
Did
know.
that come up? I don't think it
I don't
did.
think so.
No.
But he ended up painting her, and over the course of that, the two of them fell in love. And of course,
Fucking
in that
Titanic
time
style.
period, can't have that happening. And so a
Yeah,
lynch mob
no.
happened,
Yeah, in a very
and
serious way. You can't have that happen.
it
No.
wasn't, just a very
Tolerated.
simple thing
Yeah.
that they did to him. Um, they cut off his hand, shoved a hook in there, also just
Mhm.
like smeared him with
Mhm.
all like honey and everything. And so that's why the bees were a thing. And that's the origin of the hook and all that. And then
And the
ultimately they,
bees. Yeah.
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 And that's why and then after all that, then they decided to burn him.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
Candyman looks the way he does. But also the pyre on which he was burned is the site of Cabrini Green now,
Yes, yes, it is. And we see,
which comes back later.
yes, and we see the pyre earlier on for the
They're
party,
building, yeah, they're having
for
a
the
party in a
party
couple
later
days. They're
on.
building a pyre,
See, there's all
chucking old
these,
furniture and stuff on it.
yeah, there's all these weird little moments like that.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, anyway, read into it as you will,
mm,
that sort of thing. But I really liked it. I really liked it. Yeah, this story is just so cool. It is so cool. Yeah, father sent a lynch mob after them, and yeah, beautifully depicted of that atrocity,
yeah.
the Dorian. And now they saw off his right hand, yet you got the honeycomb. They get the bees from the apiary on the pyre. Yeah, boom, boom. Helen returns home. No, she doesn't return to Cabrini Green, where a young boy named Jake tells her an incident where a developmentally disabled boy was castrated by Candyman in a public bathroom. Yeah. Yeah, that it was intense. Absolutely. The flashes
Yeah.
that you got,
Mm,
definitely. There are
yeah.
moments of heavy gore in this
Yeah.
film, of real violence. Absolutely. Do not worry. Helen investigates the site where a man claiming himself as Candyman batters her with a hook. This is after she's seen Sweets to the
The
Sweet written
shit.
on shit on the wall, and
Yeah.
then we have the arrow pointing down in the bees. Yeah. Now, before this, if I go back to my notes, I'm pretty sure she said Candyman in the mirror 5 times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when she showed Bernadette the whole thing,
Yes, they
the
did it
trick with
then.
the mirror,
They
that
did it
was when
then.
they said it.
Yes.
And in the
Yeah.
way that everyone always does it, where they're just joking around, like, no, this isn't real. Oh, I dare you to do it, kind of thing. And then in the end, they do it 4 times together, and then only Helen says it the fifth time. And then Helen says to Bernie, like, "Oh, you chickened out. Why didn't you say it with me?"
But we don't get Candyman
No,
behind us in the
no, he
mirror at
doesn't
that
show
point
up
of
straight
time.
away.
Yes. And we
He's
have,
waiting.
yeah, and we have these little voiceovers that are
Mm,
alluding to,
mm,
coming through and that sort of thing. And there's shots of cracks in the mirror and all
yeah,
this sort of thing. And that little hint at with the pyre for the party later. And then we get this with the arrow pointing down to the
mm,
bees. He's already
yeah,
here by this
yeah.
stage. But we don't see him yet. We get we
No,
get the Fugazi, just the thug with the gang from the start, come
yeah,
in and physically assault her. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just to clarify.
Like
Um,
that black eye that she has looks so painful. Like
oh,
her eye is swollen shut. It's
really
not
good
just a
makeup
black
there.
eye,
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
swollen
yeah,
shut.
yeah, yeah. And they have the police line up after that. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
And yeah, and he is one of them, and she
Mm,
recognizes him. Now, Frank, the friendly at that point of time,
mm,
black
yeah.
cop, yeah, says that he basically convinces her that this guy's responsible for all the so-called
Mm,
Candyman crimes, yeah,
yeah.
and so there's no such thing, trying to deaden the
Mm,
myth, not
yeah.
intentionally
Yeah.
so, but that's, yeah,
Well, I mean, as far as he knows, it is just a
as far
myth.
as as far as
And
he knows.
yeah, and
um
here is this very real
mhm,
person, this gang member who absolutely has committed at least some of these deaths.
mhm,
And
mhm.
also like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
this is a
yeah, of
guy
course, he
that,
was a
yeah,
dangerous bad human being,
yeah,
this
this is
guy.
a
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
the police department have
That
been
is fair.
aware
That is
of.
fair. I
They
get you.
have been aware of him. They just haven't been able to actually do anything about it
Yeah.
because no one's willing
So
to
it's
testify.
feasible. It's definitely
Mm,
feasible. It's
yeah.
definitely feasible. And it makes us as an audience member,
Mm,
not literally, but it heightens
mm,
that push and
yeah.
pull. Yeah, but what
Mm.
is real and what
Yeah,
is not? Yeah.
I really like that you have like the first instance of her coming across Candyman is this just regular dude
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you, the
yeah. We're
audience, are
almost
probably
there.
thinking the
Yeah,
same thing that
yeah.
she is, which is okay, sure, we have this like urban legend,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
but then obviously this gang member has adopted that moniker because of what that character within legend represents. And
Hmm.
you know
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
and that is what is responsible for these people's death and this fear and all that kind of thing. It's just some guy who has just taken on that mantle.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
up until you actually see Tony Todd,
Hmm.
you are assuming
Hmm.
that it's just some guy.
Yeah, and that's Candyman's concern.
Mm. Mm.
That is exactly Candyman's
Yeah.
concern. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Trevor did come home, remember, smashed, cheating.
Mm.
Just
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
point that out, yeah, at this point, because that's not the last we see of that. Okay. Yeah, we've had all that. We've had all that. Yep. Yeah, helping Helen helping with the baby also foreshadows the film's end,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think, as well. Yeah. And Anna Marie is terrified of
Mm.
Candyman. Yeah. Yeah, she is terrified of Candyman. Okay. Trevor is also a suck up at the university dinner. Yeah, and we went over Helen's eyes as she was listening to
Mm.
Candyman's story, I thought was significant
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah, she
start
was
yeah,
deeply moved. Yeah.
yeah, and the lighting and the expression on her face and all that kind of thing
Hmm.
is identical to how it is when she is actually interacting with Candyman.
Yes, the hypnotized setup,
Mm.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
The
exactly the same.
hypnotized
Yeah.
shot setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lighting is very reminiscent of the way that they light Angelica Houston's face as Morticia Adams in the Adams Family,
It's
in
that
that you have
beauty
that beam of
glamour.
light,
It's a
that
beauty
single
glamour
beam of light
shot.
directly across the
Yeah.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's more noir.
Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
noir,
It's
isn't it?
just,
Yeah,
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 I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
drawing that comparison just to kind
Hmm.
of
No, it's good. No, I like that. I like that. I
illustrate,
love that sort of shit.
describe, yeah,
Love
something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no,
And
more of
it
that.
just has this really lovely, like hazy, dreamlike kind of
Hmm.
feel to it,
Hmm.
which really kind of brings across the fact that, yeah, she is in that trance-like
Absolutely.
state kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, and she has. I mean, like, yeah, okay, I find her attractive. Yeah, and
Mm.
did back
Yeah.
then and do now. But she has those big watery pool eyes and a
Mm.
cherubic
Yeah.
face, and the
Mm.
hair is
Yeah.
very halo. Very
Yeah.
intentional
Yeah.
casting. Yeah, she understood the assignment though as well, which
Yeah.
was great. Yeah. Yeah, I've got that there. The heavenly lighting. Now, Helena Cabrini Green taking pics of Candyman escaping more. She meets Jake. She asks about Ruthie Jean. He knows nothing, of course. This is the
Mm.
ghetto. But she is not a cop, nor is she afraid. Jake, though, is terrified of Candyman. Bonfire for the party is seen. That's for the party later. He takes Helen to the disgusting toilet where, the young
Mm.
disabled boy was, yeah, brutally murdered. Okay. Yes, and we've had the guy come in and he hits her and goes out. The police line up court. Okay. Helen makes Trevor a special dinner. Yeah.
Mm.
Lovely special pasta meal. Looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Trevor is thankful but detached.
Yeah.
What has he been up to? Okay, your aerial shot of the amphitheater. We have the
Mm.
Philip Glass motif, the glass motif. She gets her pictures of the green, and then finally he arrives. Tony Todd, Candyman. Yeah,
Yeah.
what did you think of his first arrival?
Oh, it's so good. Because she's in this like car park, one of those like multi-story kind of things. So just for starters, just the location is, and you hear his voice, and then he's like all the way down. Like he isn't
Yeah.
like up close to her. He's all the way down along in this car park,
Mhm.
this relatively empty car park. All that's around are just a few cars.
Usually
And he's
safe
just
as well. Usually
yeah.
safe. It's
And
the
it's
uni
and it's
car park.
daytime as
Yeah,
well. It's daytime
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And he's just standing there and he's tall in this long big coat and it's just just really draws you in.
Presence out there.
Oh, so
Yayo, this
good.
guy.
Just
Yeah,
like how
yeah.
Doug Bradley as Pinhead has that
Hmm.
amazing voice and presence, Tony
Hmm.
Todd as Candyman. Oh, so
Hmm.
good.
Hmm. Yeah, and they don't need to do too much either, but
Yeah.
to command whatever scene
Mm,
they're in, yeah, from
yeah.
whatever movie. Was the thing with this guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Only maybe got one, I'm not sure, other lead roles, starring big
Mm,
roles. Didn't matter though, what he
mm.
carved out, and also um apparently worked here on the Gold Coast and was apparently beloved by everyone. Was such
Oh,
a nice guy.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we had a
Yeah.
connection
Cool.
here as well. Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. But in this scene, he is absolutely amazing. And then he starts off with the Helen,
Yeah.
Helen. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so
yeah,
good. Ah.
yeah. I'm not even going to try and get deep. I do have a deep voice, but nothing compared to this
Yeah, not like
guy.
that.
Bass
Oh,
drum and an orchestra for resonance. You know what
yeah.
I mean? This guy.
Mm.
He hypnotizes Helen formally through the film, through photo
Yeah.
flashes of the green. You get a lot of his gaping maw, and there's a throbbing. If that's all right, that doesn't sound too crazy. It's big open mouth.
Yeah.
Come on, that's in this movie as well.
Subtext? What
That
subtext?
yeah, we'll get there with that. That's also, in this movie. But there's a red metronome. I'm not sure how
Mm,
they've done it. There's a light.
mm,
Yeah, it
yeah.
throbs red back and forth. She's been hypnotized. Be my victim. Yeah.
Oh, so
Is his dictum, basically.
yeah.
Because he wants to recreate his mythos. That he wants
Mm,
to, the fear of him. He can never be forgotten.
yeah.
Freddy Kruegerish in that way.
Yeah, it's
But
literally the
yeah,
plot of Freddy vs. Jason.
actually, but it's deeper than that because
Yes.
um, this is also, what bad people say talk around the tin drum fire in the
Mm,
ghetto to keep the monsters at bay,
mm,
and the new one expands on
yeah.
that, yeah, with a
Mm,
multiplicity of
yeah.
Candyman is, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
There's
the
more
way
than
to
one
say that.
Candyman kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, no. Yeah, that is important. That is important. Yeah, that's his whole thing. But we'll
Mm,
get to the bargain he makes soon. Yeah, because we
yeah.
have a wall of bees as he fleshes out his own concept, fleshes as myth and shadow. Helen wakes up at Anna Marie's. I didn't really miss anything. He's basically
No.
seducing her. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is where it really introduces who and what he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we figure out how much this guy's also an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no disrespect.
Yeah.
But he does throw her, back into consciousness on her own, on Anna Marie's floor at her
Mm,
apartment. Yeah.
yeah.
What
And
do you
she
think?
is
This
covered in
whole
blood.
scene. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
The,
good.
the
Because,
dog's
like,
head is off.
yeah,
Yeah, in the
yeah,
hallway. This is the
yeah.
first thing she realizes because she's trying
She
to
she
grasp what's
does
going on.
she does the
After you.
thing that they always do
Mm.
in movies and TV shows and stuff, and it's so annoying.
What's that?
Why is it when you come across like a crime scene or whatever, the first thing these people go to do is they pick up the murder weapon?
Yeah, it's a point.
And then someone comes along, and then either their fingerprints are now on that murder weapon, their prime suspect, or
Mm.
someone then comes along and sees them standing over the body with the murder weapon in hand. Like,
Mm.
why
Which
do they always do
happens
that? And she does
at
that
the
in
end of
this.
this. Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, I don't know why. Is that a thing that people actually do? Or is it just a convenient plot device to
If
make
you've
it so
been
then
there,
people,
especially if you've
yeah,
been there, right in,
yeah.
children.
Because obviously in like, media, that's a really easy way to sort of make them the number one suspect. But how
Are they
realistic
trying,
is that?
when the writers might step into their shoes, are they trying to suggest they're in shock and want to protect
Yeah.
themselves? I mean,
I don't
because, or is
know.
it just a simple way to set up them being
Yeah.
framed, so to
I
speak,
don't know.
for the,
It's so frustrating because it
yeah, I
happens
get you.
every single
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's a bit of a silly trope, bit of a silly trope. Fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, this is what happens because yeah, she finds Anna Marie and Anna Marie just attacks her
Mm.
because
Yeah.
she thinks that she's chopped the head off a dog and
Yeah.
stolen
And also,
Anthony, the
yeah, her
baby.
baby's missing. Yeah. And the
Baby's
crib is
missing.
covered in blood as well.
Just Jackson Pollock gore,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And runs into the kitchen and grabs Helen's got a meat cleaver which is on the ground because
Mm.
that fell off actually earlier on. They set that
Yeah.
up. And yeah, hits her in the arm. Yeah, that
Mm.
was yeah,
Yeah.
because no, it wasn't going for the neck.
No.
It was the just to
Yeah.
disable her, get her off.
Mm.
Yeah. But the cops who show up don't believe that,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, no, they
Yeah.
do not believe that, of course. She's arrested and she's strip searched. This is kind of really the beginning of her fall.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Frank, yeah, friendly Frank from
Yeah.
before.
The
Yeah,
cop.
have a
Yeah.
cigarette. He has no sympathy, nor
Mm.
do the other cops in the interrogation room. They have no sympathy for her plight. She is seen as sick
Yeah.
because of the baby. Very triggering, of course. Yeah, get it. So she calls Trevor. Trevor's not home.
Yeah. He's not answering. So she has
Mm.
to spend the night in jail.
Because answer left on landline
Mm.
1992, and
Yeah. There
they
are no cell
utilize
phones.
that. They focus on the wedding photo as well as she
Mm.
leaves the message. Yeah, which I think comes back later on, but I'll ask you that later on.
Mm.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure. I could be seeing things and wanting things. All right. Now my notes get a bit shorthand here. Yeah, at this stage. All right. Baby scene in Candyman's his crib. I'm not going to call it a crib. But the bathroom and Candyman's hideout, shall we
Mm.
say? Yeah,
Yeah.
they kind of get merged. What they do
Mm.
with it, how they film it,
Yeah.
because yeah, the baby's gone. We don't see Candyman at that point, but it's in that locale. Yeah, okay. And then it flashes to Anna Marie is in agony and she pulls out some of her hair. Those were
Mm.
two intentional cuts. They weren't then there
Yeah.
just to look cool.
Mm.
Okay. Love is central to Helen's downfall. Done that. Candyman's the Black Dracula. Do you agree, or am I just
Yes,
speaking wild white
absolutely.
man shit?
Although, I mean, the ultimate Black Dracula film is Blackula. Let's be like, that's literally what it is.
I know.
But
Haven't seen it. Know what it
yeah,
is.
like in terms of like he definitely has that kind of Bela Lugosi kind of,
Mhm.
and being
Yeah.
very charming and charismatic, but also very menacing and dangerous.
I mean, to take it
And
back further,
yeah.
it's like Dracula is essentially this
Mm,
is the Beauty and the
yeah.
Beast as well. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
But this is also Clive Barker, so it takes it to
Yeah.
where
It's got to
the
get a bit twisted.
romance
Yeah.
gets twisted. Let's just say
Yeah.
twisted. Yeah, let's just say that. Let's just say that. Yeah. That's why we like it.
Mm,
Okay. All right. Black men in cinema have had troubled roles mostly. There's been fantastic
mm,
ones, but the representation's been dicey. You know this.
yeah.
Basic film theory knowledge,
Mm.
film history knowledge. Um, do you think do you think with the representation, how they
Cool.
presented him?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you
It's
reckon?
Candyman is so incredibly nuanced
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
because he is the villain. And he is like,
Yes.
he's
The
the boogeyman.
the boogeyman
And that
monster. Yeah.
is a role that black men in media almost exclusively are portrayed
Yeah,
as
most
a
of the time.
villain,
Most of the time.
as a gangster, as a drug dealer, as a
Mhm.
rapist, as a this, that, and the other.
A
Nothing
dangerous,
positive.
sexual,
Yeah.
violent brute. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
And Candyman is very dangerous and violent, and there's definitely like a very sexual undercurrent as well. But then
Is it an
his
amplification of that
hmm,
trope? Candyman, yeah, intentionally so.
yeah. I mean, because you can certainly argue that because he is this legend, this urban legend
Uh-huh.
kind of character,
Uh-huh.
he kind of
Folkloric.
does have that room to sort of like expand and grow and develop as that story gets told.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there is that. But
Yes. Yes.
his backstory, who he was before he was killed, and
Oh.
him
Oh.
as Daniel Robitaille, that is such a
Oh.
sympathetic character.
Oh.
And so I really like the fact that you get that backstory before you actually meet him because it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
impacts the way that you perceive that character. As in, if you'd gotten that backstory at the end of the film, that would have
You
impact,
wouldn't.
yeah, your
Yeah,
perception
I'd
of
have
that character
trouble
would be very
caring
different.
because the
Yeah.
situations he puts people in are
Mm.
horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jigsaw level horrible. Yeah.
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 And then, yeah, so he is very sympathetic,
Hmm.
um, like in terms of who he was before he became Candyman.
Absolutely.
And I
And
mean,
it's a
I think that
tragic
the
atrocity
new,
of a hate crime. It's a hate
yeah,
crime, a
yeah, and
racially
I mean
driven hate crime.
yeah, that's the whole main takeaway from like the new Candyman, like
Yeah.
gentrification, and then also, in terms of that, like there isn't just one Candyman. We all have these awful
Yeah.
experiences and
Yeah.
this suffering that we've dealt
Yeah.
with and ways in which
Yeah.
that we have been, you know, murdered and all that kind of stuff. And we need to keep that legend alive. Don't stop saying their names is the takeaway of that film.
Hmm.
So that one
Hmm.
goes into it further. But yeah, Candyman is a very nuanced portrayal of a black character because he is the victim and has all those aspects about him that are typically quite negative portrayals for black men. But then you also have all this other stuff about him that makes him a more fleshed out character. So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Trevor promises to stand by Helen, but is obviously lying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were you last night? No answer.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Then we get the bathroom mirror hook jump scare.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous jump scare film of this
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. And yeah, okay. So now this goes back to the Cabrini Green locale for Candyman here in this moment. And Candyman makes a deal with Helen. The baby's no, it doesn't. Sorry, no, I'm mistaken. I'm confusing the locations here. The baby's life for hers, and then her sequential sacrifice to mythologize their love. He is going to kill her. Yeah.
Mm.
Now, yeah, yeah. Did that happen back at his place or at her place? Do you remember?
Um,
That's not the waltz into hypnotism yet. That's more near the end, isn't
no.
it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Blood, continuity, special
Mm.
effects. What did you reckon? You are a resident expert on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like the amount of blood in this movie.
So did I. So did I. The hook. What did you think of the hook?
I like the
Candyman's
hook.
hook. Yes,
I
the
like the
mud,
hook. I
the
like
mud,
it
the blood,
this
the
in the
viscera,
stump. In the stump,
caked,
because like,
built
oh
up. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
good.
good. Bernie arrives, and Helena moans for her to go. She's arrives outside with
Yeah.
flowers, yeah, because they're going to start working on the thesis. Yeah, this is Bernie's idea. Yeah, she has no idea this has all happened
Yeah.
to Helen at this point of time. No cell phones. Yeah, we're
No.
updating statuses on the
Mm.
go.
No.
Okay, Bernie, meet Candyman. Candyman, meet
Mm.
Bernie. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bernie's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at the camera, point of view
Yeah.
of Candyman. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, terrified again.
Mm.
Yeah, and not in a funny way. Okay, off-screen death of Bernie.
Yeah.
Slow. Okay, what did you? Yeah, I liked the off-screen death. I did
Mm.
in that moment. I usually I
Yeah.
couldn't get annoyed with those. It's like,
Yeah.
come on. But I liked this one because we got the slow track through the gaping maw
Mm.
as the hook cuts and then we hear his grunts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little juxtaposition. Trevor comes home to Helen lying bloodied, hysterical, and clutching a murder weapon, the kitchen knife on the floor. She wakes to handcuffs and a mutilated Bernie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gaping more. Sorry, this is all of it because it was just shorthand. And gaping more and ambulance lights. Yeah, Helen's face as she's been driven away.
Yeah.
And then in the voiceover, we have Todd's voice, his ode to be nothing but story, nothing but whisper that people utter forever, and to be free of the pain of life, though, is also alluded to quite strongly. Yeah. It's trying to convince her that, forget this crap. All right. Because it's not really going well for it. It's really not going well for
and
it.
it's only going to get worse.
Shot of the baby in the crib. Helen in hospital being taken away on the gurney as the doors shut on Trevor forever. Yeah. Thought that was a little symbolic moment. Okay. Now she's strapped in the gurney in the hospital room alone. This scene's particularly dope. She's lying flat like this, camera like this, and we see Candyman float down from up above, and does the hand across the face.
And it isn't just a regular hospital, it's a psychiatric one.
Yeah.
So she's restrained to the bed and they leave her in there alone. She's like, no, don't leave me in here like this. I can't defend myself.
Yeah. And no, she cannot. But he's only asking for one exquisite kiss at this point of time. Nurses come in and then he floats down underneath the bed.
And then she's like, he's under the bed.
It looked really good. This wasn't cringe or corny or anything. This actually did look really good. So we get the black female nurse and the obnoxious white male nurse. I'm glad we didn't see too much of her. She's taken to see Dr. Burke. Okay. Burke shows Helen on video that Candyman does not exist when she was freaking out, going under the bed. No Candyman. Yeah. She's confused and she's distressed. But would you agree, Dorian, that she's also incredulous?
Yeah.
Yeah, she refuses to believe what she sees on the video because she knows, however deeply, hidden,
exactly.
She's not capable of that. She's not capable of the murders that she's been accused of. First degree. Yeah.
And she's been drugged up. Like she finds out from this doctor that she has been in a drugged up state for a month. She has not been lucid. Not like as in she doesn't even know that a month has gone by.
Was it a month or
as far
3?
As a month.
A month, yeah. Still bad.
Yeah. And
my attorney.
Like they've just been drugging her.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I want to speak to my attorney. And he's like, yeah, I'm like working with your defense. Like, you're here. We're just waiting for you to be like deemed fit for trial for that murder that you've been accused of.
1992, Dorian. That's a really scary prospect. Yeah. Really scary prospect. She's not getting out. She's not getting out. Yeah. But do not worry.
Thanks, Candyman.
Thank you, Candyman. Into the mirror 5 times. Fourth time, Dorian pauses and looks at him.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
There's a beat, maybe 2.
Oh,
and then
so
split
good.
from the groin to the gullet.
No, because like he's just sitting there and then like he starts to react and it just so you're seeing him from the front and this hook just comes out like very like that yoga kill from In a Violent Nature, how he gets the hook. It's that kind of thing with the hook that just comes out from like the middle of his chest and just that's how Candyman's getting him. Kills him.
And Candyman rises with the hook. It's not till we get up to the chest cavity do we see him come over the shoulders. Yeah. It's one of the best kills in horror.
It's awesome.
Definitely one of my favorite kills ever. Yeah. Okay. So he's split from the groin to the gullet, as was said in the beginning. Yes. This does have little repeating motifs, not just in the music as well. This film. Okay, you're mine now. He tells her because she called him, yes, I assume,
Mm,
yeah, to do
mm.
violent bidding, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, this is the twisted side
Yeah.
of the
Yeah. It's
romance.
kind of
This is the
her.
Clive
Yeah.
Barker twisted
Mm.
side, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Said with
like
all due
her
respect, love, and
accepting.
appreciation. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah. Her
yes.
accepting him and sort of like knowing
Mm,
what he's capable
mm,
of and
mm,
summoning him anyway. That's
mm,
kind of a
mm.
acceptance of him.
It's the first step towards
Yeah.
going into his world. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. I like that. Nice, nice. Um, yeah. Uh, sorry, one sec. Yeah, okay. He releases her. Sorry, he releases the
Yeah.
straps with the hook, and then he defenestrates himself. I'll
Yeah.
explain
Oh,
what that means.
I love that
Fenestration,
word. I love that
fenestration
word
is
so
the
much.
as the art, the craft of putting in windows. So to defenestrate is to take out a window.
Yeah.
So if you throw someone out a window, yeah, he
Yes.
defenestrated them.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's such a good word.
It's such a good word. And he kind of folds his hands over it like he's some sort of
Yeah.
black metaler and
Yeah.
then flies backwards out the window. And
Ah,
it's been, I've seen such great defenestration in horror. It's a thing in
yeah.
horror.
Mm.
Going through
Yeah, it
windows,
is. Yeah. Yeah.
going through fucking windows. Okay, Helen returns home to Stacy and a pink salmon
Mm.
color
Oh
scheme.
God. They're painting the apartment. Stacy has moved in. So Trevor is still married to Helen. It's been
Mhm,
a grand total of a month.
mhm.
And she's locked away in there in this psychiatric facility awaiting her trial for the murder of Bernadette, which would be considered first degree murder. And essentially, like, regardless, ultimately it comes down to if you're deemed sane, then you are, seen as guilty, or you are not sane and now you're going to be locked away in this facility.
Yeah.
Either way, like Helen realizes, oh, you never thought that I was ever going to be getting out. But it's been a month, bro. It's been a month and you're bringing your like what, at most 21 year
23,
old,
23 at
23.
most. In
Yeah.
university, 23
Yeah.
at most. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. Like you are a grown man.
Yeah,
You are a
near
college
50,
professor.
if not over
Yeah.
50s. Yeah.
And you're and she's repainting the apartment and it is this it's not even a nice
Uh,
shade of pink and Helen's like, I hate this shade color. I
so
hate the
good.
color paint that you've got. She
So
grabs a
good.
paint can, throws it. I'm like, yes. She's like, get the fuck out
Yeah.
of my house.
And Stacey's character as well, 'cause she just whimpers, she
Yeah.
crumbles at the
Yeah.
sight of Helen as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. No, I did not like her. Well played. Well
Mm,
played.
yeah.
Absolutely. But then there was a resonant moment when she goes, you're all I had left."
Mm,
And
yeah.
then Virginia Madsen
Yep.
does this kind of, oh, just keep it
Mm,
together breath. Clutching. We all
yep.
know that
Yep.
moment. We all know that beat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
she's
mean, yeah, basically where she's at now is she definitely doesn't have a husband anymore. Like
no,
that's whatever
it's
might have
over.
been.
It's over.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there wasn't all that much going on
No.
before she got locked away,
The
but
start of the movie, no, but it's
yeah.
over now. Yeah.
But that's over. Her friend is dead. Bernadette is dead.
Bernadette is dead.
She's
Yes.
and
She's
also
with
there's the fact that she's on the
missing
run from the
baby.
law.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wanted
this
for the
baby's
missing of a
missing
baby.
that she's
Yes.
accused of.
Yes.
And she's on the run from the law,
Kidnapping to
accused
first
of
degree
all this
murder.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Candyman knows that all she has left is his desire for her.
Mm,
Yeah, and you have the mist going across the water, and she's on the
mm,
bridge, not committing suicide, but it
no.
evokes,
Mm, yeah.
yeah, that you have nothing left. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, so she goes to him. She goes to him, and yes, he has set the scene with candles, books for two. Did you notice that? How cute was that?
yeah. Oh, so romantic.
Now, because I'm still working out the ratings, so it's got to be
Yeah.
perfect.
Mm,
And I can't have any kind of what the was that
yeah.
moment? He
Mm,
was having a
yeah.
wee nap beforehand.
Mm.
Why is Candyman having a wee nap? Is he
Because he
mortal?
can.
Is he
No,
mortal?
he's
That
not. He's
means
not
he needs.
mortal, but
It means he needs to recharge.
hmm.
So yeah.
I
So
mean, if
my big
because
question
his whole
is he
thing,
mortal at this point? Is he vulnerable to what mortal men, humans are
no,
vulnerable to, and
no,
as he is at the moment in Helen's world? Yeah. No.
no, no, because I mean, he's still like like a legend of he isn't. He's like a
Okay.
supernatural entity.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But
All right.
in terms
You.
of the concept of him like recharging or something, like you could certainly argue that because of no,
So,
I like
I
that
know I'm being so.
concept. Yeah, I know, but I like that concept. Don't get me
Cool.
wrong
Cool.
with
Go.
it.
Go. Go. Go.
Like because of his legend going out, like people not talking about it as much, he might not be as powerful and need to recharge a bit. Like you could set he's essentially a
Mm.
tulpa.
Mm-hmm. 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 I remember. I remember. Yeah. Okay. No, I like that. I like that. Um, in terms of what's happening on screen, the plot,
Mm,
it does allow Helen to come in and see his origin story
mm.
painted wonderfully
Yeah.
on the wall. He put it there, yeah. But she pierces him with her hook, which wakes him up. And then she waltzes him into hypnotism.
Mm,
The camera circles around him very beautifully as he waltzes her around into a hypnotized state. And then we get the sex meets death speech by Candyman. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about with the hook and the blue dress.
Yeah.
This is the most suggestive I think the film gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Again, Black Dracula. Yeah, if you've got a problem with this,
Yeah.
you have a problem with Dracula. This isn't the world for you then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, to put it simply, because that has come up, but
Mm,
absolutely whatever.
yeah.
Watch something else. All right, they kiss with mouths of bee. Sorry, they kiss with
Yes, the
mouths and
bees.
chest cavity full of
Oh,
bees.
yeah. Yeah. That was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like he opens up his coat with his hook, opens it up,
Mhm.
and there's, like his rib cage, but there's just all these bees in there.
Barely a rib cage. I mean, it's a rib
Mm,
cage, and there's just flailed hanging
yeah.
off empty meat
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It's
great. It's
cool.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Clive
then he's
Barker
that's
is gore work.
yeah.
This guy is a
Yeah.
fine artist of gore. Yeah, a fine
Mm,
artist of gore,
yeah.
definitely. Sorry, you were going to say?
Yeah, and then he's not kissing with tongue, he's kissing with bees.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
It's
she
nothing but
wants
bees.
important to note that she is actually quite wooed just before the
Mm,
bees come out. She strokes
yeah.
his coat, his lovely fur
Mm,
coat. But then the bees come out and this, hang on a
yeah.
second.
Yeah.
But then she is put to sleep, Sleeping Beauty
Mm,
style is the best way to
yeah.
put it, I think. And Candyman goes to take the baby to put him on top of the fire because it is time for a new miracle, in his own words.
Yeah.
Okay, now Helen awakes at Cabrini Green, yeah, in the same place, swatting away imaginary bees. She discovers it was always you, Helen, written neatly in black on the wall. I say
Mm,
that because it's not spray painted.
mm,
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is done by Candyman.
yeah.
Helen climbs the pyre to save the baby, using her hook as a grappling tool.
Yeah.
Now, Jake hears something, but all
Mm,
he sees is her hook as it is lowered down into the detritus. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. They hear the baby, so they know that the baby's in that.
sorry, baby. There you
So
go. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They hear
Yeah.
the
So they
baby.
all go to like rescue this baby. But also because they saw that hook there, it's like, oh, this is something to do with Candyman.
Hey, yeah. So then
So
they get the petrol, don't they? Actually, that's a
mm,
good point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Think of it.
they don't
Yeah.
initially know that there's people in that pyre. So
It's
they
not
go
the
to
baby.
just
Yeah.
set it
Okay.
on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yes, and they do set him on fire, and the
Mm,
whole green joins them because word is
mm,
quickly spread, as happens,
yeah.
that, yeah, this is
Mm,
Candyman,
yeah.
and they want to see him all burn. Yeah, they probably believe that it's this murderer guy, actually, now that I think about
Mm,
it, yeah, from the
yeah.
beginning. Yes,
Mm,
yeah. Okay, which is interesting, actually. Okay, so the pyre burns as Helen clutches the baby, as Candyman comforts slash captures her. Yeah.
mm,
And yes, and they will remember us forever. They will speak
mm,
about it for us and da, da,
yeah.
da. Yeah, he's loving it. He's absolutely
Yeah.
loving it. This is the tragic end, though, of the dark
Mm,
romance. For Helen stabs Ian with flaming stake and gets away with the baby, but is trapped by burning beams of
yeah.
lumber. Yeah,
Yeah.
as she
So
starts to
yeah,
burn herself.
she manages to get out of the pyre, but she's been burnt way too badly for her to actually live. So she
Yes,
dies
yes.
on the ground in front of the pyre, having saved the baby.
She does save the baby as Candyman yells to her, "Come back to me." He explodes into a swarm of bees.
Mm,
Helen's head is now only a burnt scalp. Yeah. There's
yeah.
pulling of hair before, and there's the very
Mm,
end. Yeah.
yeah.
Again, intentional motifs. Helen was upset. I won't say upset, but when he exploded into bees, Candyman,
Mm,
yeah, Daniel. Um, she reached up to him,
mm,
like sort of like, no, no, don't
yeah.
explode into
Yeah.
bees. Yeah, you
Yeah.
saw, I don't know if you saw that just for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, a connection has been formed, is what I
Mm,
mean. Yeah,
yeah.
a
Yeah.
definite connection, all said and told. No matter what's happened, there is still that connection there because
Mm,
there is the historical past life link, is of course
mm,
what all this
yeah.
is playing on. Okay, but almost there, children. Candyman's burning corpse is seen by Jake, so the myth is
Mm.
sealed. Yeah, yeah. They're
It's
going to
able
talk
to
about
carry on.
it's able to carry. I reckon that's what that moment
Mm,
was. That
yeah.
shot was. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Um, Helen's funeral. Trevor and
Mm,
Stacy. So you didn't like that first shot.
you know.
Looking up from camera, looking up from
Mm,
the coffin, therefore Helen's
mm,
point of view at these two
yeah.
fucks
Yeah.
looking down at her.
Yeah.
But that's okay, they're children of the
Mm,
popcorn because we are joined by the entirety of Cabrini Green,
yeah.
dressed
Yeah.
to the respectful nines,
Yeah.
led by Anna Marie McCroy and Jake with
Yeah.
Helen's hook. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really
And
love
then
this.
he throws the hook into the open grave before it's getting filled in.
Yes, he does. And there's a thud of the hook,
Mm,
and then it cuts to Helen's beautiful corpse
mm,
in a wedding dress. Was she in a wedding
mm.
dress?
Um,
Remember the photo and remember the
yeah.
very end? Is
It
that
might it
something?
might be. It might
Mm,
be, especially
mm.
given what she does right at the very end. It would be
Yeah.
very fitting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And yeah, and if you think of Trevor and her throughout
Mm,
this,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's to blame. Yeah,
Mm.
fuck him. Trevor's to blame for all of this. But he has an ancestor. But he was the father of the original
Of
Helen.
the girl that
Yes.
Daniel
I'm
Robitaille fell in
throwing
love
it.
with.
That's my theory
Yes.
of Leading Popcorn. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. But they try and make us feel for him a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Um,
he's
mm.
yeah, Stacy's there like making some food, like, oh, I'm making some dinner. Do you want some? He's like, yeah, I'll be out there in a bit. He's
He's
sitting in the bathroom just
crying.
weeping, and he's having
This
flashbacks of like how good life
the
was when he
surprise
had
dinner.
with,
Yeah, that's of her
yeah,
surprise dinner from earlier on, and then there's
yeah,
Stacy moaning and whinging about
yeah,
dinner, and
yeah.
him having feelings about his dead wife that he has spent
Mm,
X amount of years with. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
This is what that relationship was.
That he
Yeah.
passed up on for this hot young thing, and now
Mm,
that
mm.
he doesn't have Helen anymore, he's realizing everything that
Because she doesn't wear a
everything that was
bra.
good about that.
Because she doesn't
Yeah,
wear a bra. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and
He
so
really is.
yeah, he's there weeping in the bathroom and saying Helen's name many, many
Yeah,
times
Helen.
into the
Ah,
mirror.
Helen. How many
Helen
times?
5 times into the
Let's hold
mirror.
it 4, then switch off the light.
Mm.
Yeah. Then look up. Yeah. And then what happens, Dorian? You finish it off.
Then Helen appears. She's like we mentioned, she's in a dress. She's all burned. She's got no hair. And then I can't remember what it is that she says to him, but
Oh no, please, please. She says this three times in the
yeah,
movie. It's another one of these motifs.
yeah,
What's the matter, Trevor? Scared of
yeah.
something?
Oh,
Remember,
that's right.
she
Yeah,
says that she comes
yeah,
home to the pink salmon.
yeah.
She says it at
Mm,
the very start. And if she
mm,
had continued, I've never seen the sequels. She doesn't
yeah.
come back, does she?
No, no,
No. If she had
no.
come back as Candy Woman, it's
Yeah.
1992. That's what they would have called her.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah.
She would have been
Yeah.
great because they were setting all this up with the dress,
Yeah.
with the hook, with
Yeah,
the scalp.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was all
yeah,
there.
she's got her hook and she guts him with it, groin to gullet. And then Stacy comes along into the bathroom and just discovers his body and just blood everywhere and
Clutching murder weapon,
yeah. Yep.
screaming, bloody
And
in
yeah.
bathtub.
And
Yeah.
now there's a new painting of Helen
Mhm.
in
And
Candyman's
yeah. And then of course you hear
home base. She has
dun,
become part of the
dun,
legend.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, plays out to
Mm.
credits. Yeah, yeah. It's good. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Stands up really well.
Mm.
The only thing, because actually, and when I was writing the notes down, just going
Mm.
through the plot, I essentially am going through plot beats of a screenplay. Yeah.
Mm.
And just basically transcribing them. And they're all there. They're all solid, paced beautifully. The only thing that I could possibly critique this on is there is a moment of, oh, this was made in 1992.
Mm.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the term that they used was used in a non-offensive way in 1992.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
that's the only
Yeah.
moment
It
that
wasn't,
takes me out of it.
yeah. It wasn't used as an insult, just
No,
as an
you know
descriptive
that's what I'm
term. Like
talking about.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
word that they would have used at that
yeah.
time for the
What?
developmentally disabled young boy who
Okay.
got killed in the bathroom.
Mhm. Thank you. At the moment, just before I finally rate this, the only other moment
Mm.
that took me out of it a little bit is when she's in the hospital. She's escaping from the hospital after release, and he flies out the window, and she knock out a nurse, female nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the
Because she
guy,
climbs out the window and
the
then
guy in
like
the bed.
goes down
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
the
yeah,
window,
yeah,
knocks on
yeah,
there, and there's like
yeah.
an orderly. It's not one of the nurses, it's one of the staff,
Orderly. Yeah,
other
okay, thank
staff
you.
members.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And she
yeah.
knocks on the window and the person just like lets her in. She jumps on her and then just instantly knocks her
Hmm.
out as she jumps on
Hmm.
her. Steals her out, steals her clothes, and that's how she's able to escape.
And then there's the guy, the near catatonic guy who can't move anywhere in
Mm.
the bed, but his eyes and is just
Yeah.
looking at the bed. And it was just like a goofy little Benny Hill moment. And that little
Yeah.
sequence of editing where she's outside
Yeah.
the window, then suddenly
Yeah.
she's inside at the corner of the window and jumps
Yeah.
at it. So that's not that great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's possibly the only other moment I could critique.
Mm.
That said, this movie stands out very well. It's still relevant today. It says it more in a slow burn, subtle,
Mm.
meditative way through the lens of interracial romance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And class as well, absolutely. Um, and I think even though at the time it was handled by two white men, I think they balanced everything
Mm.
really well because it's all about the perpetuation of the story because this is important for Black culture. I
Yeah.
think that's the kind of line they took ideologically. Yeah, and I think
Mm.
they basically stayed within that line and realized it well at the end. Otherwise, it's a beautiful dark romance. Here's the
Mm.
Black Dracula. Tony Todd
Yeah.
is fucking amazing. His voice is delicious.
Yeah.
Virginia Madsen is beautiful and she's amazing in this because she really carries the film in terms of, its
Mm.
arc, definitely.
Yeah.
He just comes in at the high points. Yeah.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
barely in it, really.
Barely in it, barely in it. But when he's in it, it's
Mm.
everything. Yeah, and it just makes me appreciate this type of work,
Mm.
definitely, and want to return more to it. Yeah. Yeah, I might read some Clive Barker. Yeah, and definitely watch more Tony Todd outside of
Yes.
what he's mainly known for, I
Mm.
think, as well. Yeah. And yeah, rest in peace. Thank you for all you did for horror. The community and culture struck deep. James could barely
Oh
do
yeah.
a horror news. Yeah, it was the shortest
Mm,
he'd ever done. And yeah,
yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
want to be there. I
He
understand.
wrote
Yeah.
a he wrote a
I read
decent
that.
length
Yeah.
post
Yeah.
on his Patreon, yeah.
Yeah. I read that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
So, I mean, if you knew the guy, I could only imagine how
mm,
affected you would be. This is
yeah.
just para art. I'm not going to call it parasocial. It's a
Mm,
para
yeah.
art
Yeah.
relationship. And it's deeper because Candyman is one of the greats. He's one of the
Mm,
greats. He's in the
yeah.
pantheon, definitely in my top 10. As I think this movie is, but we'll get to that at a later date. For now, yeah, it's a 4.5. That
Same.
is a
4.5 for
4.5.
me as well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Not quite perfect, just for those little moments of composition, if you will.
Yeah.
But for the stuff that is important, it just excels. And that's the
Yeah.
relationship between Helen and Candyman, and their interactions are the big scenes that you want.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And everything else is handled with respect and care. And for 1992, really good work. You got to understand that as well. Really good work. And we'll get to the new one, talking about it. Yeah, I'd like to get to the
Yes.
new one, actually, in contrast and comparison. Yeah, rest in peace, Tony Todd. Um, okay. Serbian film's coming out soon. That's
Yeah.
coming out but this will be pushed forward. This will be out by Monday. And we were doing Cannibal Holocaust. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched it again?
Not yet.
Not yet? No,
No.
I'm gonna savor that one. Save it and savor it. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm just throwing it out there. Have a think. If you wanted to come on top 5 final girls.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I'd be interested to hear what you think. Yeah. But I'll remind you closer to the time.
Yeah.
All right, children. Yeah, hello, you're still here. Okay, cool. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't seen Tony Todd, educate yourself now. Absolutely.
Yes.
He is a horror icon. We've missed one, but we have a great catalogue of work still, and a great memory of a great man, however you knew him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and read some Clive Barker. That's my recommendation, as well as Sweet Pea. Yeah, if you can imagine Dexter, The Office. And what was the other one? It was Dexter, The Office. It's very gory anyway. It's Ella Purnell, and she gets annoyed. No, what was the one? It was more of a feminist example. I can't remember, damn it, because it's very much good for her on steroids with lots and lots of gore. Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely recommend that. Do you have any quick recommendations at all?
Or I don't know. I watched Your Monster yesterday.
Oh, that's a very
It's so
yeah.
cute. It's
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I was very disappointed that he didn't look more monstrous. I'm like, he's literally
Mhm.
just some guy. What are you talking about? That he's a monster and that he's scary. He's literally just some dude. I wanted him to look like more of a monster, please. Like, you're out here saying that this is a monster fucking movie and he's
Mhm.
not looking like a monster. Jeez.
Mhm. Just a hairy
No, but
dude. Yeah.
it's really, really cute.
Is that
It's
right?
really
Said
cute.
Fred, but more horror. I'm just throwing that out there.
Um, it's it's very much a movie about like female empowerment kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
And
Okay. Cool.
so yeah, Melissa Barrera's character in that just
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
yeah, I mean she's a bit of a doormat of a person and people are taking advantage of that, and then her relationship with this monster then allows her to actually stand up for herself, and it's very, very satisfying
Okay.
by the end.
No, I'd watch
I
that.
won't
I'd
go
watch
too
that.
far into it because it's something that
I'd
you need
watch that.
to actually see to fully appreciate.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I don't want to sort of go too far into it because then I'm like, no, that'll ruin the impact of like the ending of the movie.
Okay. But no, I like cute horror at
Yeah,
at
it's very
times.
cute.
Absolutely, like Psycho Gorman, fantastic.
Oh, I love Psycho Girl.
Minnie, is it Minnie or Mimi?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, Mimi.
amazing.
Yeah.
Mimi, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So cute and kick-ass. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, so no, I
Yeah.
definitely watch shit like that. Speaking of watching shit, just a reminder out there. Don't forget about Heretic, because it'll probably be
Mm.
out around the time this comes out. That's the last movie, big
Yeah.
horror movie to be released in Australia for this year. And I've been
Mm.
hearing nothing but great, great things. I'm
Yeah.
definitely keen on that. And yeah, and on we'll be doing a Scammer special, and it'll be heavily centered around Terrifier 3. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
Yay.
Maybe Gremlins, then Terrifier 3. Watch along.
Yeah.
So those who don't want to do
That'd be
Terrifier 3
cool.
after Gremlins,
Yeah.
yeah, I
We
think.
could just watch a bunch of Christmas horror.
Yeah, we could do it at
That'd
Evil
be
Corp,
cool.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like obviously Black Christmas, but what about like Silent Night, Deadly Night? Christmas Evil.
Yes.
Christmas Evil is insane.
Silent Night, Deadly Night's getting a
Um,
remake out. It might
mm,
coincide, which is also always beneficial.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is getting
Um,
a re whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's quite a lot of Christmas horror movies because that's
There
something that I sometimes
is.
do around
Yeah.
Christmas time.
You've got to keep
I just
sane.
find the most fucked up
To keep
ones to watch.
sane.
So now, thank you, Terrifier
Absolutely.
3.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Just watch that each day that you're forced
yeah.
to be around.
Yeah.
Glad in the background. If I'm here, this is here. Okay.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. But we're not there yet,
No.
children. No, no. We're in November and we're just doing whatever we want. Hence,
Mm.
top five. Final Girls coming soon. Looking
Mm.
forward to that one. I want to have a decent think
Yeah.
because we're going to coincide. There is the
Yeah.
danger of doubling up a lot
Yeah.
with the Final
Oh.
Girls. Yeah,
Because
because
there's a lot, but yeah, there are a lot.
iconicness.
Mm,
Yeah, this is where it
there are a
is.
lot, but some of them are
Yeah,
better than others. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And I want to find some other ones that people don't know about
oh,
or I
yeah.
don't know about as well. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, try and bring that to it. Yeah. So, yeah, stay tuned there, children. And we're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But thank you for taking the time here to come on
No worries.
this and taking the time there, children, to, yes, come to our tribute to Tony Todd with the classic Candyman from 1992, again written by Clive Barker and directed by Bernard Rose. Check out all of these people. Yeah, yeah. Good night. Go to bed. Oh, Candyman will spit you from the groin to the gullet.
Whoa, up.